Hello, dear learners. I hope all of you are doing well. In our last session, we had discussed the basic concepts of statistics, and we got to know that statistics is a process of collecting, organizing, analyzing, and interpretation of data. So, in our today's session, we will discuss some of the concepts or the areas or aspects involved in the collection of data. Okay, so what is meant by data first? The word data is a plural term of the singular term datum, and the dictionary meaning of datum is fact. Hence, data signifies more than one fact. Data is nothing, but it is some aggregate of facts, right? It is some of the facts or evidences collected from the field or real ground. In a wider sense, data means evidence or facts describing a group or a situation. It may refer to any details regarding numerical records or reports. So, data describes a situation or it may describe an event also. It provides us details of the characteristics or aspect of any incident, of any event, of any person, or if any individual or any problem issue, and it is always used in numerical form, that is number form. So, in a practical sense, data is used as a statistical term for numerical facts describing measures of variables. So, in statistics, by data we mean always the numerical form of facts or evidence. There are some definitions of data. We can see the Merriam-Webster's dictionary. It says that it is a factual information such as measurements or statistics used as a basis for reasoning, discussion or calculation. So the Merriam-Webster dictionary has emphasized on or stressed on the aspects like reasoning, to reason, then discussion and calculation, right? Calculation of the variance or the variations of the occurrence of the variables, their increase, decrease. To discuss about it, we can use factual information, and those are called data according to Merriam-Webster dictionary. Then we can see that Wallace library, it states that data are individual pieces of factual information recorded and used for the purpose of analysis. So here you can see we need to record data, right? We need to record, and why? If we have to analyze it. It is a raw information from which statistics are created. So data can be considered as the raw material for statistical procedure. Statistics are the results of data analysis, its interpretation and presentations. Hence, we can say that statistics is nothing. Statistics is nothing without data. Now, from where we can get the data, right? Those are called sources, and data may be collected mainly from two sources, primary source and secondary source. Depending upon the source, we may also divide it as either primary data or as secondary data, depending upon the source. So, when the data are collected by the investigator himself directly from the field of study, the data are said to be collected from primary source. So, in primary source data, the investigator or the researcher himself collects the data by his own experience. So, these are first hand data. Okay. Primary sources data are first hand. While the data are collected from already recorded reports, the data called to be collected from secondary source. For example, I am doing a study on infant mortality rate, okay, and I am using the government's gadgets because or the health department's reports. So here I am not going to the field, or I am not collecting the data by myself. Rather, I am using the data which are already recorded by some other person or some other agency or by some other individual. Then it is called secondary source of data. So, going further, we can say the sources of primary data are like surveys, like we can do surveys like through person, through telephone, through mail. We can observe person, we can observe by ourselves. We can observe the person through machines in controlled environment. Then we can do experiments. The experiments may be laboratory experiment and it may be field experiment, right? Then sources of secondary data are like library, governments, gazettes, trade professional and business reports, private business firms reports, no? Then advertising medias, university research organization and their publications. So as sources of primary data we can consider what? The observation method, interview method, questionnaires, schedules. And for sources of secondary data we can use printed sources or electronic sources. Printed sources may be books, journals or periodicals, magazines or newspapers, and published into electronic sources may be e-journals, no, general websites, weblogs, etc. Now, how we have to collect the data? So, the process of data collection starts with surveying. The purpose of surveys is to describe some characteristics. Survey is a method of gathering information from individuals. So, survey includes steps. So, to do survey, first we have to select the area, then population, and then the sample specific to the problem. So, first we have to consider the problem, then accordingly I have to select the area. Suppose I want to study the relation between academic achievement and or academic performance and family background. Now from where I will study this, no? So I have to select the area. Suppose I can select the area like it may be a nation, it may be on a state basis, it may be on district basis, it may be institution basis also, no? So how it may be institution basis, like I may suppose to observe some of the university students of a particular area, no? So then I have to select the population and then I have to select the sample accordingly. So after selecting the area, population and sample, I have to consider upon the mode of data collection. That means through which mode I will be collecting the data. It may be offline mode, right? It may be online mode. Then I can go by myself, that is personal mode. No, I can mail them, it is mailing mode. I can do through telephonic conversation, telephonic mode, no? So I have to consider like which will be feasible, no, regarding time and cost constraints, which will be feasible, I have to consider that. Then selection of instruments. So I have to select what I will use to elicit the data, whether I would use a questionnaire or I would use interview or I would use some standardized test manuals. So I have to decide on that. Then after selecting the instrument, I have to do what? I have to apply it on what? On the selected sample. So this is the process of collection of data. Okay. So what can be the instruments of data collection and modes of data collection? For collecting data, various types of instruments can be used. They may be standardized or they may be non-standardized. Usually we can use questionnaire forms, no, and it may be used like we can also use personal interview schedule. We can also use telephonic interview. So we have discussed this much only in this session. So that what is data, no? To collection of data we need to know what is data, and so it is the singular, it has derived from the singular term datum. Its dictionary meaning is fact. So we can say that data is a numerical facts describing measures of variables. It describes or it gives evidence, or these are facts of group or situation. Then we have to go through two definitions of data. Then what are the sources of data? The sources of data may be primary sources or a secondary sources. When the investigator himself goes and collect the data, then it is primary source. When the data are collected from already published or recorded reports, then it is called secondary source. Then for primary source we can consider personal, telephonic or mail surveys, personal observation, mechanical observation, experimental methods, so laboratory experiment, field equipment. Sources of secondary data like library, books, government gazettes, trade professional business reports, no, These are, and so we have already discussed that. Then we have discussed the process of collecting of data. So in process of collecting of data, we have discussed we have to first do the survey. For surveying, what we need to do, first we have to select the area, then the population and the sample which will be specific to the research problem. Then we have to select the mode of data collection, then we have to select the instruments, then we have to apply those instruments. I hope all of you clear with this. So I will take leave for today. In our next session we will discussing about what, about the different instruments of data collection. So thank you.